Good morning. Hope you're having a great week. It is Monday, July 15th, 7:02 a.m. Central Daylight Time, local time here in Oklahoma City. I am at home if you can't tell. I was hoping to be at the shop right now, but because of surge pricing on Uber, it's just ridiculous for an Uber right now. Let me check and see what the price is right now at this moment. It was going to cost me $60. Um, like 20 or 30 minutes ago. Oh wow, the prices have dropped back down to the normal rates. So, $13.50 is what it will cost me now. But well, I've already started the video, so we'll do the video real quick. Um, I was planning on this being like an hour long video because I thought I was gonna have to wait until after 8 p.m. or 8 p.m. 8 a.m. to be able to get reasonable pricing on the Uber. So let's knock out a few things real quick, and then I'll maybe make a video whenever I get down to the shop. Maybe I'll throw up another video today. So what's going on? Well, I unfortunately have a bunch of drama. Yesterday, I drove my truck to the shop to get a DOT inspection done, and on the way there, one of my drive tires exploded. I don't know what caused it to blow up. It was in good condition. I did a pre-trip inspection. I was going to get a DOT inspection, so I did a pre-trip a little more thorough than I normally do because I didn't want any surprises when I got there to the DOT inspection. And I don't know. I don't recall seeing anything on the road. Um, I have no idea what happened, but it just exploded. Like it was like a shotgun went off. And um it caused quite a bit of damage. It destroyed my mud flap. It ripped the mud flap completely off. Part of the tire that came off wrapped around the pull handle on the fifth wheel, the release handle. It pulled it all the way out, further out than I thought that damn thing could go, and it bent it down to where it was touching the frame. And it caused a lot of damage. Lots of superficial damage. But, I thought I was going to have to replace my fifth wheel. So I pulled over when it first happened. And then I made the decision to just get off the interstate and take side roads to the shop. And I don't buy my tires at TA. Their prices are absolutely obscene. So there's a Goodyear like a mile down the road from TA. So I took side streets to the Goodyear, got there, and they're closed on Sundays. So I just parked my truck there at the Goodyear, and I got an Uber back to my house. Um, but I was able to get up there and grab a hold of the fifth wheel bar, the release bar, and pull it back up into position. And I could not get it to go back in. It had gone out so far that the latching mechanism got like stuck in to where I couldn't push the handle back in. And I thought, oh my God, man, this thing messed up my fifth wheel. And I got in there with a hammer trying to, hit the mechanism that whenever a kingpin slides in, it pushes it and causes the bar to slide in. I couldn't get it with a hammer, I couldn't get it to happen. And I checked to see if there was maybe a trailer at the shop. And yeah, there was a trailer there at the shop. And so I backed into it to test the fifth wheel, and it latched in, it locked up real good. And whenever I locked into it, the bar slid all the way in like it's supposed to. And then I was able to pull it out like normal and detach. So the fifth wheel works. That's good. I'm not going to have to buy a new fifth wheel. And I'm not going to pay them $150 to put on a mud flap. I'm just going to buy the stuff for the mud flap. I'm going to buy a new mud flap, and I'm going to have to buy the little kit, the mud flap kit. And I'll just put it on myself. It's just 4 bolts. I mean, it's not that difficult. You just, you're putting on 4 bolts. It's easy. And I'm not going to pay somebody $150 to do that. The big thing that I'm going to have to figure out today is how the hell I'm going to get the tire replaced. I am not in a position financially to be going and dumping another $1,300 replacing 2 drive tires. I just replaced 2 drive tires, not too long ago, within the last year. I can't remember exactly when. And it cost me $1,300 for 2 damn drive tires. And that was with huge discounts. If I didn't have Landstar's Goodyear tire program discount, it would have cost me over $2,000 to get those 2 drive tires replaced. So I'm going to see if I can't get a used tire or something. I'm not in a position financially to replace both tires. And if I can't replace both tires, then it's worthless to put on a brand new tire, because that brand new tire is going to be supporting all of the weight, and it's just going to wear down really fast. So anyway, that's something I have to figure out today. I'm going to have to talk with Goodyear, see what options they have available for tires. I might have to drive over to TA to get it replaced. I don't know. We'll have to figure something out. So a couple other things to talk about. Let me show you this page. Is there anything? Let me pause this while I switch screens. All right. So this is Landstar's website, and I have a bunch of options that I can do on that website, like go to the load board and various other things. But this is where you can search for available trucks. This is mainly something for like the brokers, the agents at Landstar, to allow them to search for trucks. So if they need to move a load, they can look and see what all trucks are in the Oklahoma City area, and then they'll go and cold call all of them. I hate it when they do that, but they do it all the time. But the reason we're on this page is this number right here. BCO active trucks. BCO is Landstar terminology, and it just means owner operator. It's business capacity owner, I think is what it stands for. They call the brokers agents, and the owner operators or the drivers, they call them BCOs. So 7,900. This is actually 300 trucks lower than it was last week when I looked at it. Like Thursday or Friday of last week when I looked at it, it was like 8,150. So 200 trucks. Now, this is not like how many trucks Landstar has leased on. This is how many active trucks they have. Like, I'm in an inactive state right now. I'm out of service because I've gone over my 120 days for a DOT inspection. But this gives you a rough idea of how many trucks Landstar has in their fleet. This was over 11,000 when I leased on in 2020. Ever since the freight market has started tanking for the last couple of years, it has been dropping from 11,000. When I went to the cabs class, I think it was at the end of March. It was March, April. It might have even been in May. I can't remember when I went to that cabs class. It was just like it was like maybe 3 months ago. We'll say approximately 3 months ago. This number was at like 9,400. 1,400 trucks have disappeared from Landstar's fleet in like 3 months. 1,400 trucks. So let's do some math real quick. So 3,000 trucks are gone right now. So that is a 27% fleet size reduction. 27% fleet size reduction. From 11,000 when I first started down to 8,000 right now. 3,000 trucks. So how much did they lose? So let's do 1,400 divided by 11,000. That was 12.7% of their fleet they lost in just like 3 months. That is enormous. Enormous. Now, it's even worse if we look at what their fleet size was. 9,400 down to 8,000. So that's 1,400 divided by 9,400. That's 15% of their fleet that they lost in 3 months from their new fleet size of 9,400 trucks. Losing 1,400 trucks, that was 15% of their fleet in 3 months that they lost. Could you imagine, like, if your company lost 15% of, something, like 15% of their revenue in 3 months? That is insane. And we are well past the July 4th holiday. So this isn't trucks that are taking vacation for July 4th. When I checked this number, it might have been a week or two ago. It might have been during the July 4th week when I looked at it, and it was at like 8,150. And I thought, well, it's going to bounce up a little bit because of people taking off for the July 4th. It's actually gone down. So yeah, Landstar's fleet size has gone down even more, and it's been going down at a faster rate. Let me pause this. We'll switch over to the load board. I'll show you some loads. All right, so this is my standard load board search. And if you're looking at this on a phone, you're probably not going to be able to read any of this. It's too small. But it is, I'm fairly certain I'm recording in 1080 resolution, so you should be able to zoom into it. But yeah, it looks like there's a bunch of decent loads on here, but almost all of these loads are going to really bad freight markets, and they're hazmat. So it's a bunch of hazmat loads going to Florida. So Florida loads and hazmat loads. There's probably a couple of good loads in here if I look through it. But let's search by rate per mile instead of it. It defaults to total load price. So there's this load from Duncanville, Texas to Seattle that's paying almost $6,000, $282 a mile. Now the prices you see on here, this is what this is the full rate. If it's a direct load where the Landstar agent has a direct customer, then this is what the customer is actually paying. Landstar agents will also repost loads from other brokers. So, this load, there might be loads on here that are also on Coyote or whatever other DAT load board, or, the hundreds of other load boards. Those loads, if there's a second broker, if it's a co-brokered load, which a lot of people call that double brokering, that is not double brokering. Co-brokering is normal in the industry. Multiple brokers involved in moving a load is co-brokering, and that's normal. The illegal version of co-brokering is called double brokering. But anyway, if there's a second broker involved or more, if there's more than one broker involved, then we don't know what the customer's actually paying. But this is what the Landstar agent has negotiated the load to, either directly with the customer or with another broker. I get a percentage of this. I get 65% of the line haul plus 100% of the fuel surcharge. It comes out to somewhere in the ballpark of like 70%. So, yeah, I'm not making 282 a mile on this load. On the 282, let's do 2.82 times 0.7, and that comes out to $1.97. So on this 282 a mile, what I would be making is $1.97. That's not very good. It's you know, I could be profitable at $1.97, but it's not very good. So let's search this by rate per mile. And the top one is going to Colorado. Here's one, Oklahoma City to Montgomery, Alabama. That looks like a decent load. Yeah, that's actually a really good load. 371 a mile. It's going 800 miles. Montgomery, Alabama is a pretty good freight market. It doesn't pick up until July 26th. I might book that load. Let's look. Let me pause this while I pull up the details. And here we go with why this is not a good load. So you need 2 to 3 horizontal E-tracks. So you need some specialized equipment, some specialized dunnage, 15 quilted blankets, and 15 ratchet straps. I don't even know what in the hell a horizontal E-track is. The E-track is, in modern trailers, they have these little notches. They'll have these bars, these metal bars, spaced out through the trailers with little metal notches in them, or metal notches. They're metal bars with notches in them for securement. You can get E-track. All kinds of things are E-track. They just snap into the sides of the trailer. E-track is just something, a securement. So my ratchet straps are E-track straps. And I do have 15 ratchet straps. It's a specialized load if you have to use more than 2 ratchet straps. I consider that a specialized load. But this also requires 15 quilted blankets and some type of horizontal E-track device. It sounds like some kind of like table that you snap into the E-tracks to set stuff up on top of. So this is an extremely specialized load. You need a tremendous amount of securement equipment, dunnage type stuff for this load. And it's listed as an electronics load. So I don't know what in the hell this is, but this load is horrible. 371 a mile is not good for this type of load. This is, for like specialized stuff like that, you have to add a premium. Like every little thing that's extra, like a normal dry van load that's picking up from a warehouse going to a warehouse, you can, get a standard rate for that. But you start adding on extras like it's a direct to store delivery, or you're picking up in a residential or delivering to a residential, or it requires a bunch of extra securement, or it's hazmat. Every little thing that you add on that's specialized or extra, that rate needs to go up to make it worth your while. And you'll see loads on here, it's like, oh, that's an above average load, that looks good. And then you'll go digging into it and find out it's some extremely specialized load. And you're like, yeah, it's paying a little bit better than normal, but it's not paying well enough to justify all that crap. So yeah, it's that is a terrible load. That's the reason it's sitting on the load board right now. Just skimming through these loads, I'm not seeing any loads look worth a damn. All right, Tulsa to Parkersburg, West Virginia. West Virginia is not a bad place to go. I don't like going over to the east. Hazmat. Yeah, it's paying $3 a mile. It's really light. So it's probably just like one pallet, or it's several pallets of really light stuff. It could be empty containers. If they have residue in them, then we might still have to placard. Or it might still be considered a hazmat load. We don't have to placard, but it could be like empty totes that have residue. But even then, it'd be heavier than that if it was a full trailer of empty totes. But yeah, that looked like a decent load, but it's hazmat, and they're not paying a whole lot of premium for hazmat. Tulsa to Las Vegas. $2.67 a mile for hazmat. Yay. Vegas is not a very good freight market, but you're within like 150 miles of LA, which, let's check out the LA market and see if it's gotten any better. Let me pause this. All right, exact same search parameters. I just changed it to Fontana, California. So it's like a 250-mile radius. Is it a 250-mile radius? I think I have it set to a 250-mile radius. It's a big radius. So let's see. Does it say on here what the radius I have set to is? All right, let's see. So California to Fort Pierce, Florida, 278 a mile, 40. It's max weight hazmat going to Florida, and it's only paying 278 a mile. Max weight load going to Michigan, paying 286 a mile. It looks like the rates are better. I mean, just skimming through here, it looks like California is now like a decent market. It's not the premium market that it used to be. $4.50 a mile. Oh, that's going to Denver. Denver loads paying $5 a mile is completely normal. Colorado is one of the worst places you can take a load. In my opinion, it's probably worse than Florida. You're probably going to have to deadhead further from Denver, Colorado than from Orlando, Florida to get a decent load. Irwindale, California to Fort Smith, Arkansas, 264 a mile. I mean, these are decent rates. So, yeah, it looks like Ontario, California to Oklahoma City. And I hardly ever see loads going in and out of Oklahoma City. And we just saw one coming out of Oklahoma City. Now we're seeing one going into Oklahoma City. So, yeah, it looks like California is a decent freight market again. But the only reason I ever went into California, and I used to go into California all the time, but it was just because it was a premium market. They would just throw money at you to take loads out of California, like crazy money. $4 or $5 a mile were fairly common. One of the biggest loads I ever hauled was like a load from California to Jacksonville, Florida. I think it was over 13,000. It was all $13,500. There was another load that I hauled from Southern California over to Dallas, the Dallas area. I can't remember exactly where it was at. And that load paid like $9,000. Those are the full rate. That's not what I made. I made like 70% of that. But, you're talking about like a 1,400-mile run that paid $9,000. What's the rate per mile on that? $6.43 a mile. That's the kind of loads I was hauling back when the freight market was at all-time highs. Those are the type of loads I was hauling. Now, those were the best loads I was hauling during that time. You know, 6, 7, 8. I hauled some loads at like $12 a mile. But yeah, it looks like California is better than it used to be, because last time I looked in here, you couldn't find a load that was paying over like $2.50 a mile that was going east, that was going past the central part of the country. Now you can actually find some loads over $2.50 a mile that are going, that'll get you back east. So it's decent, it's mediocre. So I need to book my Uber and get down to the truck and figure out what's going on today. The 3 things that I need to accomplish today: number 1, get the tire replaced; number 2, install a new mud flap; and number 3, get a DOT inspection. And once I get all that done, then I gotta come back to the house and start getting paperwork and stuff in order to get back out over the road. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. And I'll throw this video up, and then I'm gonna schedule an Uber and get out of here. Let me just double check and make sure that the prices are still the same. They had that ridiculous surge pricing, but I think it was just for a short amount of time. Like everything got really cheap. Like even like the high end rides. Like they don't have an Uber Black or whatever it's called on here, but they've got is there anything here? Let me show you. I don't think there's anything on there that's yeah, that's the so the Uber Comfort, which you couldn't see, it was up one, is 1504. So the Uber XL is, I think that's just extra large for up to 6 people. Um, and I've talked with these Uber drivers before. Whenever Uber charges extra, they don't typically pass that on to the driver. Like I paid extra to get a priority Uber because I was sitting there. It was in the middle of the night, or early, it was like real early. It was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was over where I pay to park the truck. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and book the load. Um, or book the load. Book the uh I went ahead and booked the ride. Um, yeah, I waited around for like a long time. I was sitting there for 45 minutes or so, and um, just a second here. Pick up in 21 minutes. Vincent has done 3,058 trips. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of trips. But I chose to pay extra. It was, I don't remember the extra. It was like an extra $10 or something to get a priority ride. And when I did that, it immediately like booked me with somebody instead of just sitting there waiting for somebody for like an hour and nobody was taking the ride. And then the Uber driver got there and we got to talking and I told him about the priority thing. And he's like, "What do you mean priority thing?" I said, well, I paid extra for priority. And he is like, "Really?" I was like, you're not getting paid extra for this ride?" And he was like, "No." And he told me what he was getting paid for the ride and everything. Uber didn't even tell him that I was paying extra for the ride. And he said that he was actually on his way to go to another pickup, and Uber canceled that on him and forced him to take this ride. That's the way he described it to me. And he got really mad whenever I told him how much I was paying for the ride because I forget how much he told me he was getting paid, but like I want to say like he was only getting paid like $12 for the ride and I paid like $30 for the ride or something like that. And Uber told him that it was a $12 ride. Like Uber is shady as fuck, man. I've never been an Uber driver or anything like that, but Uber does some really shady shit. They are not transparent with what they're charging versus what the drivers are getting paid. And what the drivers get paid, I don't know what their contract is, but I think they're supposed to like be aware of like what Uber's charging. I don't think they work on a flat rate. I think they work on some kind of percentage system. And if Uber's not transparent with what they're charging, then like that's kind of fucked up. Today's trash day. I heard something really loud outside and I was like, "Oh, that's trash truck." So anyway, I'm gonna get this thing uploading and I'm gonna go get ready. Pick up in 18 minutes. So he's probably got some other ride or food delivery or something that he's doing before he comes over here. So I hope you're having a better week than me, and I'm hoping that I don't end up having to spend too much money today. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to find a used tire. Um, Hell, I'd even be willing to throw like a recap on there. I hate recaps. I don't know. I'm hoping that I can get this whole tire fixed for under $200. I would love to just be able to throw a used tire on there. That would be perfect. But I don't know. I'll get something figured out, and I'll probably toss up another video today while the truck's in the shop or something. So yeah, it's going to be an eventful day. Hopefully there's no more drama, no more surprises. But I've got to get back out there and start making some money because the expenses just keep piling up. So have a good one. Bye.